candidates are out right across the nation, not just here at pre-poll, but the crucial door knocking. That's where we find Andrew Clennell, our political editor, in Brisbane, the crucial seat of Brisbane. Andrew, the door knocking is always fascinating because you hear those interactions firsthand. They might be inclined to support the party, or maybe they need to be convinced. How have you gone there today?
Well, it's another fascinating one. The seat of Brisbane, three-cornered contest. Last time Trevor Evans, Tom, got 37% of the vote, lost the seat. That's because Labor and the Greens got 27 and 26 respectively. Between them, they got a two-party preferred, basically adding up from that for the Greens, 54%. What can I tell you? What I can tell you from this door knock is that Trevor Evans looks a chance in this seat. But if he doesn't win it, it's because of Peter Dutton. And that is because we had a lot of anti-Dutton sentiment on the doors. Several young women said they didn't like Peter Dutton. We had a gentleman say that Peter Dutton had made a lot of mistakes. And we also had a gentleman saying, I'd rather vote One Nation because he's not standing up enough on things like nuclear, in his view. He said he was a weak, wet nothing. Say what you think, not what you want people to hear. After talking with Trevor Evans and him being given his time, he said he'd vote for Trevor Evans. Having said that, there were some people who said Peter Dutton was stronger than Anthony Albanese. There wasn't much love for Anthony Albanese, but those interesting conversations about Dutton, they wouldn't go on camera. Let's have a listen to Romy. She spoke as a young person about climate change. Haven't heard that much of that in this campaign. And also housing. And also Tina, who spoke about how she actually liked Peter Dutton. How are you feeling about what issues matter when it comes to your first time to vote in this election?
Yeah, look, I'm feeling optimistic about the certain policies at certain parties. Obviously, our generation is pretty focused on climate issues and obviously the cost of living. I'm probably leaning more towards Labor. Obviously Greens would be good to have some seats in there as well, but yeah, I probably align more with Labor's socialist approach.
Oh, there's a lot that matters. I'm a die-hard Liberal and always will be. Immigrant parents.
What do you think of Peter Dutton?
If he continues on the road of what he's promising, I think it's the start of a good change for us.
We also spoke to Verity, who has been taking the message of Peter Dutton that there's concerns about a Labor-Greens minority government, but she's a GP and says she doesn't think Anthony Albanese's Medicare plan will work practically. You're a doctor, you had some concerns about the Medicare promise.
And I can't see these Medicare promises of bulk billing consultations as a possibility at all.
No. Why do you say that? You just think the promise of the number can't be filled? Why wouldn't that be?
Well, one, doctors aren't being paid enough. It encourages rapid consultations, which is not good medicine. I'm very concerned that the possibility of a Labor-Greens alliance in the next election. I'm concerned about multiple issues that they're promising. All right, well, I'm about to play you Judy. She's 86. She loves Trevor Evans. Trevor Evans had a lot of name recognition here, so much so Labor's got a call flute saying, vote Trevor, you'll get Dutton, as if to warn people. He's got more name recognition, arguably, as a former MP here than Stephen Bates, the current MP, who is a Green in this Greensland that is 3 Green seats in Brisbane. Judy's with Trevor Evans all the way.
This is the man. This one here.
And why do you like Trevor Evans?
Because I know him.
Yeah, how do you know him?
Because I've seen him around for years. Well, he'll go good because I'll say that, yeah. I should know what I'm doing. I live here and I'm 86.
Look, Donald Trump also came up. I did hear from a party official this week who said people generally don't like the Prime Minister or opposition leader. I certainly saw a lot of that out here. And that's why when it comes to this seat, Trevor Evans is relying on his personal recognition to try and take it off, and the cost of living. He was really selling cost of living hard at the doors. Here's my chat with Trevor Evans post-door knock. Trevor, you're running again. You a glutton for punishment or what?
Something like that, yeah. Sick of reconnecting with my family and friends, so I decided to put my hand up and, you know, no, seriously though, Brisbane needs better representation and the country needs better economic management. I've got a contribution to make on both, and that was the reason I put my hand up again.
Now, established today, you've got a very long-term relationship with Peter Dutton. You've been a campaign manager for him. You knew him as a teenager in Dixon. But we did hear from some women on the doors today saying that they weren't sure about him, that they were hesitant about him. Do you think that could affect your result here?
I think, you know, we've seen election after election that the popularity of leaders is one of many factors that's taken into account. But I just note that over time, as more people get to know Peter Dutton, the more they respect him. And for Liberal leaders, it's never been about love and likability. It's always been about respect. When I think about John Howard, when I think about Malcolm Fraser, when I think about Tony Abbott, it's respect for Liberal leaders that really does the trick. And I think there's a lot of respect out there that Peter Dutton's a decisive person and he shows a moral clarity and certainty that's sorely missing in the Prime Minister.
Well, we did hear a bit of that, but we also heard from a gentleman who said, look, stand up on nuclear, stand up more to Labor on this stuff. What was your reaction to that?
Well, you know, our base and lots of people that are our strongest supporters want us to be as vociferous as we possibly can be when it comes to advocating for the nation's future. They say in politics, if you're making everybody just a little bit unhappy, you're probably getting the balance about right.
And the thing that you're pushing is the rather obvious thing. I haven't seen this necessarily in other seats, by the way. You've got Labor pushing their urgent care clinics, but you're saying cost of living, we can do a better job on economic management. That's what you think, I guess, from what I've seen, can help you, as well as the fact that you don't think Stephen Bates has done enough as a local member in this area. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. There is no doubt that cost of living is by far and away the biggest issue in Brisbane, and I suspect around the country at this election. As an economist, I've got something to contribute there, and I've been telling the voters of Brisbane that cost of living crises are always caused by inflation, and inflation is always, at the end of the day, down to bad governments and poor economic management. So I'd love to be in there and delivering a government with better economic management to bring down inflation, interest rates and the cost of living. Now, you mentioned the Greens candidate, the Greens MP. If I had $1 for every single person who's asked me the name of the current MP and has never met the person and doesn't think they're delivering, then you know, I'd be very well off. One of the reasons I put my hand up actually was so many people around the community reaching out to me and saying that you know, I used to be an accessible, hard-working local member, and they're just not getting that sort of representation, and they're just not getting those real outcomes anymore.
A bit trickier here. 37% primary last time. The other two candidates got 26 and 27, and one of them got up.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's 2 against 1?
I think there's no doubt that tight preference swapping between Labor and the Greens was ultimately what did me in last time around. But my message this time is particularly to Labor voters. I think that this contest will be between me and the Greens here in Brisbane. And what that means is that Labor voters this time need to be much more thoughtful about their preferences. Basically, this contest is between the Greens on the extreme of politics and someone like myself who has a track record of delivering and also, you know, managing and governing from the centre. I'm someone who can work with the local state Labor MPs like Grace Grace and Jonty Bush. The Greens MPs never met with them and just can't do that.
Briefly then, are Labor preferencing the Greens on how to vote ahead of you?
Of course they are.
Trevor Evans, thanks for your time.
Pleasure, Andrew. Thanks.
So, Tom, the door knock was in New Farm, which was basically even Stevens amongst the 3 candidates last time. So, no bias in terms of the area that was chosen. This shapes as a very interesting contest on election night.